core data initiative. Some presentation about UNGGIM. UNGGIM states for United Nations Initiative on Global Geospatial Information Management. It's a coordination forum between member states on geographic information, and the general context is the support of the Sustainable Development Goals of the United States. So at practical level, UNGGIM, there are organizations at global level, such about geodesy, cadastre, institutional arrangement, fundamental data. It exists since for 6 years, and it was created by the Statistic Division of United States. And something more recent, there are activities at regional level since for 3 years by continents, and we are in Europe, and there are 2 main working groups, one about core data and one about data integration. I think there is now a new group about geodesy. So the core data concept, the core data definition we have chosen in the working group of Europe, it's geographic data, so data must have a direct geometry, and it's the data considered as the most useful to analyze, achieve, and monitor the Sustainable Development Goals. Either directly, for instance, as background map, or allowing the link with other data, or directly for the SDG, more thematic data. And also, the core data has to be fulfilling common requirements to all countries. The general idea is that if there are common requirements, it's normal to have common content in the database. The Sustainable Development Goals, there are 17 development goals dealing with all the aspects of sustainable development, environment as inspired, but also economy and society. The objective of core data is to define priorities for the production of new data for enhancement of existing data. INSPIRE was just about harmonizing existing data. The core data is about trying to get more data, trying to produce more data. And the status is a recommendation for policy deciders and for data producers. In opposite to INSPIRE, it's not going to be a legal obligation, it will be just recommendation. But we hope it will have the power of United States, and it will encourage people to implement it. So, as I said, we have different ambitions. INSPIRE is about a common structure for each change data model and format, and core data is more about minimum common content with well-defined levels of details that were also missing in INSPIRE, and with minimum quality requirements. And our deliverables are now called recommendation for content. It's not about the structure, it's about the content. So, many of you have already seen this illustration. INSPIRE can be seen with a big cheese, but with a lot of holes. But some users may complain because there is not so much to it, and sometimes it's a little disappointing to find attributes but nothing in it. And the purpose of core data is to be maybe smaller but better fit. So regarding now the technical things about how to make INSPIRE profiles for core data, the first step was to choose the core data themes. There are 30 themes in INSPIRE, and when making core, it's about making priorities. So we extracted 14 themes that you can see highlighted in red. Of course, the choice is difficult because clearly there is no clear break line between things that are very useful and things that are not so useful. So we have made a choice that is reasonable, but of course it may be topic to criticism. Our general approach, I think it's very classical. We are based on user requirements with focus on these sustainable development goals, and we are based on standards, mainly the INSPIRE data models. And these INSPIRE data models are really very precious because they offer common terminology, common starting point. Another point is that our deliverables are mainly for deciders. So we have decided that we will describe the expected content in text, trying to avoid something too technical. And our deliverables, nevertheless, are also for future implementers, so we need to show the relation, difference and similarities with INSPIRE data models, because likely the people who will implement the core data are also involved in INSPIRE and can understand the model and similarities. And it will be, in a way, our models will be put in an annex. It's a little the same as for the INSPIRE. In the implementing rules, there are no UML models because deputies and politicians are supposed not to understand the UML model. There is only text, and it's a little the same here. The main document is just text, and the models are in the annex. Adaptation of INSPIRE data models. Our guiding principles, we try to keep as close as possible to INSPIRE. We try to avoid to make new data models if it can be avoided. Our core UML models are just illustrations, they are just images. We are, the main purpose is to help better understanding of what is expected. First, within the group, to be sure ourselves of what we are recommending, because text may be confusing and UML models may be more clear. And it's also for communication with the audience. We don't expect to derive any resource from the model. We are not going to derive GML, feature catalog, and things like this. They are really just for understanding and nothing else. And we are not expecting to make any maintenance of these core models. So in simple cases, we will just display the core feature types and attributes. That is the most frequent case. In general, we have less data than INSPIRE. So what we need to do is just to show what we have selected from INSPIRE. However, it may happen that we have to include information if there are some key user requirements, but it's rather an exception. So it's what we have done for the three teams we have dealt so far: cadastral parcel, address, and geographical name. So regarding the first case, how to display the core feature types and attributes, I will say we have used a very sharp technology, that is the color pencil. So we have just put the INSPIRE model and make some color about what are the core attributes for core data, without changing anything in the UML model. But once again, this is just an illustration. We are not expecting to derive any resource or things like this. It's really just a communication tool. The second case, it's if we need additional information, if key user requirements. In this case, we are going to do formal extension of INSPIRE data model, respecting the rules of the generic conceptual model. For instance, it's what we have done for geographical name. We have added some attributes with a child feature type inheriting the properties of the INSPIRE feature type. Typically, for instance, we have added something about population to give an idea of the importance of the name place in order to facilitate the mapping use case. So it's what we have done so far, but we have dealt only with 3 themes and with 3 simple themes. So now, what else? For the complex cases, we expect difficulties we have not taken any decision, so I am just showing you some draft ideas. A complex case is when we have non-extensible code list. For instance, it's the case for governmental services. There are a lot of restrictions in INSPI. For instance, the services for leisure, for sport, culture are out of the INSPI scope, and the code list is not extensible. And we think that it is important for core data to have access to sport equipment, to libraries, to museums. So we are in trouble. So maybe we will just keep the attribute name, but not the attribute type. But we don't know yet in a way. Some other cases, it's the case of generalization and specialization. For instance, in the case of transport network, it's very generic data model in INSPI with these 3 levels of inheritance, the network, and then the transport, and then the specific transport. There are common transport properties. There are also specific properties for each kind of transport, and properties may apply to any feature type, for instance, to node, to link set. So, for instance, let us imagine we have the road node with just the name and the form of node, and the road link with name, form of way of vertical position. Of course, it's just an example. We will have more core data, I expect, with their geometry and identifier. I have tried to make the exercise with the INSPI model. I think it will be feasible to extend it using the rules of the generic conceptual model. For instance, I am not really gifted with this. C'est bon, il faut que... Voilà. It will be feasible using constraints, but the schema is not really readable. It's very difficult with this kind of schema to understand that the former way relate to the road link or not to the road node. So, really very complex. So, probably in this case we will just make our own schema, and I think this schema is quite more easy to understand. And it's the purpose of our document, making easy to understand. Another case, what you have already seen yesterday, is the case of hydrography. INSPI is about specification for delivery, so there may be several views on the same data, for instance the physical water and the hydro network. But as we are making recommendations for production, we expect that the same database, from the same database, we can derive both hydro and hydro network and physical water, and maybe even the water transport network. So what we are going to do probably is to design a specific core data model merging the 2 application schema, or maybe even the 3 application schema of INSPI. Another case, it's coverage. In my opinion, the INSPI models are made mainly for web coverage service, and it's difficult to see any content in this coverage. The content is mainly shown by the name of the coverage, the range type and the record type, but it's not really readable by human beings. So probably the solution will be no UML model at all for this theme, because it is not really helping understanding. Maybe it's just easy to say we need an ortho image with red, blue, green, and the grid size and things like this. Text may be quite enough. But the most complex case is when we have no content. For instance, for the land cover, there is no common classification, and in this case, it's really an issue because we have to find things by ourselves. So it's really complex when information is missing in INSPI. So we don't have any starting point to make our decision. So the conclusion, For the validation, we will try to have our documents reviewed by the geostatistic community, using in a way the INSPIRE methodology, reviewed by stakeholders, but there is no validation expecting from core data, because it's just recommendation, it's not a legal obligation. And I will say this core data initiative won't have been possible without INSPIRE, because it offers us common terminology and very good starting point for most things. But we need some adaptation, we need some extension, because we have a wider context, not just environment, but the other point of sustainable development. And another way, we need less, because it's about priority. And the production oriented, it may also require some redesign. So sorry for that. I think it's my last panel.